My dad was the son of a sharecropper. They would raise a crop, and as part of the rent, part of that crop would go to the owner of the land. It was basically just a way to scrape by, and it was a hard living. I remember seeing pictures of my grandfather. He was skinny as a pencil. You could see the wear on his face, and he was just in his 20s. It was hard on him. It was very manual labor. I mean, from sun up to sundown, and then afterwards a lot of times. You didn't get to go to the grocery store and buy what you wanted. You know, they thought it was a big treat to go to the grocery store and get a penny of candy, you know, once a month or something. So my dad's childhood, I remember him telling us the house that they lived in was owned by the landowner, and it was just a shack. You know, they had to heat it with firewood in a fireplace or a wood stove, and when he was younger, he would play with the chickens through the cracks in the floor. In the mornings, a lot of times they would wake up with frost on their blankets that they were sleeping in. So, but you know, even during that rough time, when he would tell those stories, he would smile. He would smile. He loved it. So no matter how hard the times are, you can still make some good memories. So he bought some property in 1950, which is the place that I live now. I mean, I've got the old house, which I'm very proud of. Later, he was able to buy a farm, about a 30-acre farm, and he raised cattle. And sometimes we'd have as many as 30 head of cattle, and we'd keep them out there on the farm in the summer. And every fall, about November, sometimes into December, when the ground would freeze good, we'd go over there with the truck, and we'd make 2 or 3 trips, bring the cattle back over to here, feed them over the winter. And one of my jobs was during that winter is I had to go out there and I had to give them the ground feed that we gave them. And hay, whatever, you know, it required for the number of cows we had. And we'd put up hay during the summer, put it in the barn, and we would feed them hay every day. I had to go out there and break the ice on the pond because that was our water. I remember sometimes it getting so thick you could drive a tractor across it. It was hard work. I didn't always like it, but I knew it was my chore. That was what I had to do every day. That's what it was expected of me. We were needed to do that. That was important. Not always fun, but necessary. We would garden every summer, and he would take his little Case tractor out there, and he would break up the ground every year, and we would go out there and pull weeds up, and he would plant potatoes and tomatoes and beans and all kinds of stuff like that. And we would, strawberries, I remember the strawberries very vividly because that was mine and my brother's job to go out and weed the strawberries. I hated strawberries then. That was a lot of work, but you know, I didn't really enjoy it as much, but looking back on it, it was a good time. You know, I got to spend time with my dad. There was a stretch there when I guess just doing it that much when I was a kid, I just kind of let that go by the wayside and got into the rut where you work, you come home, you eat, you sleep, you get up and repeat, you know, and I did that. And when we moved back to Dad's house, it was just almost automatic that I had to raise a garden. My children used to get off at the bus stop from school every day over here, and they would go out and they would work with their Daddy Jay in the garden. I think that was important to them. I think that was very important to me. It's something that I didn't get interaction with my children as much, but my dad did, and he got to pass that down to them. You know, my grandkids come over now, and I want to do that for them. You know, I want to show them how to plant a seed, how to feed the chickens, you know, how to gather eggs. And that's what we do. When they're over here, we go out and we feed the cows. We feed the chickens. We gather the eggs. One thing I enjoy, the things that my dad taught me, and I get to pass the things down that he showed me. And I want them to experience this same thing. And I want them to be able to look back later and said, yeah, I used to do that with my granddad. I used to plant tomatoes, and we picked tomatoes, and we gathered eggs, and he raised beef cattle. It's kind of like a circle, because my dad did the most things that I do. We had chickens, we had a garden, we have cows, and that's why I've got those things. We had bees, we raised pigs, and I knew he had cattle here, and I wanted cattle here. He raised a garden. I raised it in the exact same spot he had it, because that's where he had it, and that's where I'm going to continue to have it. And just about everything he did, I turned around and started doing myself, and it's really fulfilling, you know. And I think he would get a kick out of it, knowing that maybe he didn't get to see it in full, but that he brought all of this about. I think he would be extremely happy with what we've done here, and he would really be tickled that I'm showing his great-grandkids about his farm, about the lifestyle he had, about raising animals and plants and gardens. And I hope my grandkids do take this and use this, what they're learning, and not just be a memory, but be able to teach maybe their children. And I think out of the 5 that I've got now, there probably going to be some that's going to want to do that. They're going to want to have chickens maybe in their backyard. It may be in town, but a lot of towns allow you to do that. So maybe they'll have a couple of chickens in their backyard, or maybe they'll grow a garden, even if it is in a in a little pot out on the patio or something. Maybe they will do it, and when they do it, I hope they remember me.